Oh, the bark. Hold it like this.
Late night happy hour, Cofield and Company. I don't know what's going on here. Adam is with us, JVT. It's Cofield. We got a ton of stuff to get to. We have one of the better calls I've heard of the first half of the year in sports radio. A lot of baseball reaction. Adam Hill will have his anti-chicken wing take coming up in a little bit. We'll see if he can keep his cool this time, as he really became flustered on the air today. Terrible radio. Real quick, let me finish the intro. Alex Crawford is with us. If you guys can all retweet the tweet that we sent out. Alex is with us for like the second or third time. He's based in Southern California. He's got experience in the Pacific Northwest, which we will get into later on, I promise. And all of a sudden, he's going like, I don't know, it's like a BBM guy with the big black mic.
Oh, boy. We got a good development.
BBM.
Yeah, man. Last time I was just using the computer audio, and I thought I want to upgrade. I want to prove myself to these boys out in Las Vegas. So I got the old school, and you gotta protect. You gotta use protection these days. And I went Bob Barker on you.
God dang, sounds good.
I was trying to figure out what John was doing, just looking straight down, and then I realized the Angels aren't extra innings.
Yep. That's actually exactly what I know. I got my phone right here. And that's actually what my old boy was. It was not the inappropriate comment that Steve made. It was, extra innings. Forgot about the man on second. Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani's on second right now. Let's go.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, I was going to say, Alex, John is a gigantic Angels fan.
Oh, I'm a big A's fan. In the spirit of tonight's show, I bet, well, for me, a lot of money. For most people, probably pocket change on tonight's game to get like in the Vegas state of mind. So go A's, go A's.
Wow, we got problems right off the bat
this
here.
Is also, I don't want to know. Never mind.
Keep going.
Well, I was going to go hardcore baseball, like not super hardcore baseball, but like inside baseball for a second and be like, this is why Shohei Ohtani should never pitch again. Like, you're starting extra innings, and he's the guy that you put on second. Why? Because he's an insane athlete, dude. Like, he should be an everyday player. He should be a hitter. They should refine his skills. You can they got Joe Adele coming, so maybe you can plug him in for Upton in the outfield, but, like, you can do so much with him, dude. He shouldn't be pitching. It's ridiculous.
Wait, you can put whoever you want on second base?
Maybe you can't. Can you?
I thought it was whoever made the last out.
Okay, I could be right. I don't know I don't remember the intricacies of it. So if that's the case, then never mind. But regardless, he's still going to be effective on second.
Maybe you can put whoever you want, though. Maybe you're just going to put your speedsters.
Yeah,
I love that. I like the new extra innings rule. I think it's great.
Stop it.
A purist entered the chat.
This is ridiculous.
I'm not a purist, but
this is not high school girls softball. We're going to play this out. If it's 12 innings, if it's 15 innings, let's go.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Adam. Like, I'm not like insanely angry about it, but you earn a badge of honor when you watch a 19-inning baseball game that goes like 6 or 7 hours, man.
That's true. If you've ever gone to one too, especially, then I think they actually hand you a badge of honor as you leave, and it's pretty cool.
Okay, yeah, and everybody, by the way, in the chat, says guy who was last out. All right, cool.
All right. Also, hold on. This is great. There's actually a clip. There's actually a clip of the A's just posted it, I think, on Twitter. Like, Ohtani's just chilling in the dugout. And he's got his jacket on. And somebody comes over and like, hey, you got to be on second base. And he's like, wait, what? It's like, he had no idea. He didn't look happy.
Oh, he's out. God damn.
Maybe he got out on purpose. You don't want to be out there.
He's like, I just got to get out of here.
A's infield is pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't. No, we're gonna turn this into like a baseball podcast.
I know it is. It's great.
Go ahead.
Oh, if you guys see me staring, I have the TV on right behind this, so I'm also tuned into the game.
That's perfect. This is why we needed sports back, by the way.
Right.
Like, we're still gonna do everything that we were doing, but we just have things on in the background. It's perfect. It's fantastic.
Sorry, Lou Williams, huh?
Okay. I'll also point this out, just because I was just annoyed to pick on your employer, John, not your network, but John's gone. I was just going to say something.
Kevin just said, I showed up here tonight to watch JVT, watch TV.
That's perfect. I like it. I was just listening to it. I was just out and coming on the way home to come on here, but I was listening to one of the channels on satellite, John. So I'm going to put this on you. I just heard a show do like the 5 lamest jokes in a row, like back to back to back, and they all cracked up on all of them.
Oh no!
Like who's listening to these things?
What channel?
Like,
Fantasy.
Yes, it was good guess. But they
Who was
did.
on the show?
So it was like a really old guy. It was not a show I've heard very often on there, but there was a girl on there, Jen something.
Okay.
She had the best of the bunch, but it was one that is recycled. She said that Dr. Fauci's pitch was because he didn't want anybody to catch anything. Oh,
zinger!
And then they did like 5 straight jokes about like, yeah, Giancarlo Stanton hit last night. He really took the crowd out of the game with the early home run. Oh, like it was that back to back to back. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing now? And I actually just pictured like people laughing at that too.
The funny thing is, I think that you listen to that channel on satellite more than any other satellite channel.
No, John's station.
The fantasy channel is 100% legit a top 5 sports channel.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. But there's regular programs that are actually really insightful and good.
Right.
Whatever this Friday night nonsense is, and I'm sorry if people, know any of them, it was a disaster.
Yeah, that sounds terrible, man.
Yeah, I was like, please don't do the no crowd. Oh, you did it.
Well,
you did it.
As you know, actually, it was a big day. I forgot to send this in, Steve. I should have sent this to you because it's a big day coming up. Or was it today? The man, the myth, the legend is no more. But my dream is to get paid to make jokes like that and to show up and not give a shit and to do things that just are terrible but still get paid for it. And
Appeal
speaking of
the lowest common denominator.
Right. And speaking of Mike Francesa, all done.
I know.
That is what happens. That is what happens in this industry, right? Like, I imagine all the people that are doing that now and making a living just saying God knows what on air. Like, they started off really good, right? And they just devolved. That's what happens.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. No, I think our tastes evolve. We're like, no. I think at some point, like that actually did pass as humorous and funny and edgy. And we've gotten to a point where we're like, that's just cheesy and old and awful.
You think our taste has evolved? Like it's evolved that much in the last 10, 20, 30 years?
Yes, but so here's the caveat to this. This is a theory that goes back, and John, it's a theory that myself and a coworker of yours, Mitch Moss, developed. It's the 12% theory. God, people are not going to. They're not going to be happy with this. Like 12% of the population gets it. And I'll just say, like, you can think on a level where you can understand, like, understand humor that's not just on the surface.
You can understand nuance.
You can process information. Like 12% of people like get it, and there's like 88% of people out there that are just mindless zombies that would appreciate that kind of thing. And so, like, but that could be generous. You're right. But I feel like a lot of times there are people that are in that 12% that are struggling to like find like where's the audience of that nuanced humor, that next level. And it's tough to do. Like a next level conversation. And they're like you actually should be appealing to that 88%.
I feel like I was gonna say it makes sense, but I feel like in a lot of cases I'd rather be successful with the 88% than the 12%, right?
No, John.
Because then you just spend your life going, these people just don't get it.
Right. No, I agree with you. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That I think like most people that are in, some sort of, media or entertainment or like people that create content, I would say, most people are in that 12% and you don't understand that you're supposed to be appealing to that 88%.
All right, let me pose this question. I knew a girl who thought pretty highly of herself. And was pretty hip, was a hipster, if you want to use that term. And she had a tattoo that said, I knew this girl in Portland too, if that gives you context.
Okay, so she's a dancer.
She had a tattoo that said, do you get it? And I was like, what does that mean? She's like, well, do you get it? Like, are you like kind of what you're saying, Adam? Like, are you in the club? Do you get it? But then I thought, if you have that tattoo, I'm not sure you get it. Like, I think you get it, but you're in that like in between limbo state where you think you do, but you don't. If you get that tattoo, something's wrong with your brain.
Why do I feel like we're doing like a pot show right now, even though we're not high? That's kind of funny. At least I guess speak
for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think there is a level of that for sure. But I also like the phrase that I love that people say now is like, why don't people just think for themselves? And anybody that says that is like a conspiracy theorist, or like, you know, they're just totally into fake news and like things that are true and like QAnon and things like that. But they're like, just think for yourself. Like, you're not thinking for yourself. You are getting these conspiracy theories.
Sheeple.
Yes.
Sheeple, you're one of the sheep. It's like, but where did you hear that?
I don't think Steve likes
Joe Rogan.
Steve's not into the conversation. Steve's not feeling it.
He's not.
I'm listening. I told you before the show, I'm basically just sitting here. This is your show tonight.
Oh, okay.
I'm producing. I'm Ari. Oh. That's what Ari looks like when he's on these videos. I'm now Ari.
I just got a text from Steve, so I feel like he's at least paying attention somewhere.
So did I too.
Oh, the A's just scored?
Let's go. Yeah, no. Bases were loaded. Angels blew it. So A's are.
Oh, dude, I'm on a delay. This is
ridiculous. My God, I'm sorry. Yeah! I'm sorry. Oh God, as the words came out of my mouth, I thought I was like, oh shit, JVT's on a delay. My bad.
Poor John.
No, that's all right. I'll watch this.
My bad, John.
Well, can you let me know when this actually happened so I know how much of a delay you're on?
Anderson Simmons just got thrown out.
There you go. Right. Okay. Yeah. So about
it's like 15 seconds.
15.
Yeah, not that bad. Well, because he was. I thought the way he exclaimed, I thought something crazy was about to happen.
Okay.
But I guess not. All right. I guess people didn't tune in to watch TV.
I think they did. Ooh. But no, to relate that, John, to what is coming up. We talked at the end of the show today a little bit, but the NHL is going to use a pretty lengthy delay for the games in the bubble.
Yes.
Because they're worried about language. Because players with no fans, you're going to hear them cursing all the time. And so the NHL delay is going to be obnoxious because there are going to be a couple team employees in there, including the social media people. So the teams are going to be tweeting out goals way before anybody knows about it.
Kevin, your name is fitting.
Yeah, he's bitter.
Kevin, your name is very fitting.
Well, he's a Tigers fan, right?
No, that's very true. Yeah, like you.
I'm sure you guys have probably talked about this on your respective shows, but it just seems like if there were ever a time for these leagues to implement an uncensored or a pay-per-view type package or a league pass type package where you could listen to the uncensored court audio, this would have been the time for them to offer that. I think it seems like a missed opportunity that we'll never get again. There's a disconnect. Like people, if I could watch, I don't regularly watch NHL and definitely not as much as you guys with the Knights in Vegas, but if I could watch uncensored, undelayed, raw NHL and hear what they were saying, even if they were cussing at each other in Finnish, I would tune in. I'd pay extra for that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think they're scared of the backlash of the more general population. Like we talked today, one of the media people in LA was furious at, I think it was Cody Bellinger that was that was cursing on the field last night, or Jock Peterson. Right. It was Jock Peterson, I think. Was cursing on the field, and the guy was like furious about it.
Jock Peterson.
Who was it?
Yeah.
Jock Peterson. I don't know if he was furious. Steve Mason, who does ESPN LA, said, "Is there a way we can avoid dropping F-bombs all the time, or can we actually have some sort of delay?"
Shut up. Seriously.
That's a virtue signal. That's like I'm a family man. It's lame.
Well, but I think so. What you do if you're professional sports is you put up a warning now before the game. Right? Like with anything, like could be mature language, whatever you want, like some sort of disclaimer right before the broadcast. You know, these are different times. You will hear players on the field, you know, viewer discretion is advised, even though that sounds a little tough, right? When you're talking about that. But like, I don't know. I think personally they're handling this a little bit wrong. I think all of them are. Like the NHL, I think that's a bigger story too, Adam, because we can talk about only website journalists are allowed in, correct?
Only team media. I actually am a member, John, of the Professional Hockey Writers Association of America. So I got an email this morning from the PHWA basically laying out like the options. Like they're going to fight it big time. The PHWA is really going to fight it, and there's really not much they can do. But going forward, I know they're going to use this as kind of a negotiating ploy or negotiating tactic with the NHL because it is kind of garbage that in the past they have classified like team website writers and social media people and more importantly the NHL.com writers as media. Like they are media people.
Yeah.
And now they're like, no, they're team employees. Like, well, wait, what? Because you want to get them in and you want to have this access and tell these stories that other people can't. Like they are shutting out media, which is garbage. And we've talked about the battle between what people want and media, and like I don't like media anyway. Like there is a role that the media plays, even in the sports world. The objective media to tell stories and to expose things that are going on, and there is a role for the media to be had. And I know we're biased, or I'm biased in particular, but it's pretty garbage that you would pull this and say only NHL.com and team media people can be in there and shut out everybody else. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to box it off for the future. Like get everybody used to just going to team sites and shut out the media completely. And that's total garbage.
Well, I think too, I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into this, Alex, as well, but you also control the message to a certain extent, right? When you're doing that, like when you limit just team workers, team media members, you can control a little bit of the message that's getting out. And you would hope, as somebody who consumes, right, that the team members, the team media members, would still report anything and everything. And I do think the NHL has a proper health system in place, but if there's a breakdown of some sort, if there's something that's not done properly, you as the NHL can at least control the message somewhat and I wouldn't say you'd be able to cover it up, but you'd be able to get in front of it, at least to a certain extent, because you're able to control whatever the team puts out to a certain extent,
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the NHL is being pretty fascist, to be honest. Like, if you're limiting the team, I don't know. I don't want to say this. This isn't like a hot take I have, but in a sense, social media has not ruined the consumption of sports, but it's changed it so much. And when I say social media, I mean team accounts, because they're controlling the message so much, and it's so much fluff. It's so much fluff, and I think we've become numb to it now because we like the instant highlights and the great graphics packages and the dope edits. But I do think that it's dumbed us down a little bit.
And just so people are ready for this, it's going to be kind of an issue in the NHL, or excuse me, the NFL as well, which I think will be a bigger story. For fans and going forward. So the NFL is going to start probably with no fans, at least in a lot of spots, very limited in some spots. And we don't know what the media situation is going to be, right? And, again, I'm biased. I cover the Raiders, so I travel with the team every week. But are we going to be traveling? Are we going to be there? And if not, it seems like what they're going to do is Zoom calls, like with a player with the media back home, right? So after the game, we as media people will all be on a Zoom call with a player and then, get the information that he says, the quotes or whatever. But apparently you're only going to be able to ask questions if you're on site, right? So the Raiders open at Carolina. If they don't allow media to travel, what it would be is a team employee asking players questions and then the media all getting the same quote from them.
Right.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people right now that are like, who gives a fuck? I don't care. I'll hear what the player says about the game, whatever. But now you're not having any accountability whatsoever. Like I can't ask Derek Carr what he was thinking on this play. I can't ask, Josh Jacobs about a fumble or something like that. Like that's not going to happen. And you're only going to get team sanitized questions of what they want to have, out there. That is going to be garbage for you as a fan. Even if you're on the surface, you're like, well, I don't care. I just want to hear what Derek Carr said about the game. I don't care if you ask him a critical question or not. I'm telling you, it is not going to be good. And then let's forget all the other things about, as you said, if the protocols aren't in place or if there's somebody trying to skirt the rules or things like that are going on, that there's nobody to hold anybody accountable ever if you're out there. There's just a lot of problems with it. And again, very inside baseball on a media level, but I'm telling you that fans are going to want to know these things.
Yeah. I mean, part of me thinks that a good chunk, maybe the majority of fans, simple-minded is not the right term, right? But are simple-minded enough to just, like you said, just want to hear player A say one quote and then move on and look at the stats and the highlights and then after that, right? And on top of the climate that we're in of that media, don't really need them, do we? And I think that's like why you're not going to get too much pushback. You're going to get pushback from people like, in this room, because obviously all three of us have a rooting interest, I would say, for the most part. There you go, the 12%.
Yeah.
The 88%. There you go. But I do think this ties in. I know we're kind of everywhere because this is a little bit deeper down the rundown, but I think it ties in somewhat nicely. So there's the way that the NHL is handling things from that perspective. And then there's the way Major League Baseball has been handling the broadcasts. Are you guys down with this? What we've been watching with these fake fans? With the crowd noise? Like I love the cardboard cutouts I really
They're
do.
hilarious.
They're awesome. There was one. Was it the Braves Mets game earlier today, or maybe it was the Dodgers game last night? Like there was one of just like a really angry baby behind home plate. It was so good, and I like that. But I don't like the weird crowd noise, and I don't like. Isn't Fox tomorrow going to do like a digitized crowd?
I'm excited for that.
I don't. Yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah, I actually don't mind it because I think it's representative of the way that I watch baseball. I'm a little bit more of a fringe baseball fan. I have it on a lot of times in the background. Like tonight, I was doing some work, getting some stuff ready, had the game on, and when I heard the crowd cheer, I'm an A's fan. It's an A's home game, so when I heard the crowd cheer, I knew to look up, I knew to tune in, and I was like so thankful that okay, they piped in the crowd noise. I actually don't mind it at all, and I think that a lot of times with everything going on in the world right now, we always want to label stuff as like this is dystopian, this is Orwellian, this is terrible, and it is. But like, I just want to give sports a pat on the back for figuring out a way to come back. It's imperfect, but they're trying their best, and obviously there's big money involved in money talks. But I do want to give them a pat on the back for bringing it back, trying their best, and I'm watching live, exciting
Chapman,
extra innings baseball
Chris
right
Davis,
now, baby. Let's go!
Did Chris Davis hit a home run or no?
Hold on.
No,
not yet. Okay. Not yet. Stuff's happening though.
What are we doing?
Runners are advancing. Runners are advancing.
Runners are running.
No, but I'm actually okay with it. I'm actually okay with it. I think that people are too quick to label it and hate on it because it's something new. But I think in the overall scheme of things, this is the best we can do, and it's a blip on the radar compared to some real compared to some real dystopian Orwellian shit that's going down in the world.
I like it. I like the cutouts. The crowd noise to me, Adam, was distracting. Like there was one of the games that I was watching, and like the crowd noise they were using was just like it was just really weird and just didn't make sense, and I hated it.
Well, there's a lot of ambient buzz, which is weird. So when we talked about this today, but I certainly will say it again. When this first started, when they announced they were going to do this, Joe Buck let it slip on a podcast like 4 months ago. I don't know if you remember that happening. And I said at the time, that is going to be the hardest job ever. Being the guy that operates the crowd noise is going to be so hard. And people are like, what are you talking about? There's a home run, you cheer. No. Dude, there's so many things that go on. I don't know how much soccer you've watched, but like they've got the main things down. When the action's in the middle of the field, kind of going back and forth, they're doing the chants. They play a chant or they play a cheer, whatever. It's easy. When there's a goal, easy. Mm-hmm. You scream and they play the screaming and the yelling and the celebration noise. Those things are easy. But like, what about when there's a controversial call in the box, right? Mm. Like, what sound do you play? It should be like people getting worked up. That's when the people get most excited in soccer, when there's about to be a penalty called, or what if the bad call it goes either way. It's really hard to get that down. And now you're watching baseball, you're seeing some of the same things. Home run, easy. You play the cheers. Whatever, a double play, that's kind of an easy one, or like a boo. Those things are easy, but like, what about when there's like a long fly ball that's not gone? You have to get that. Right. Like you have to, like that sound has to be played. So when you're really doing this,
a good producer would.
Right, but when you're really doing this, it's really hard to match that up. And if you're delayed at all, like you have a home run, and it's like 3 seconds before you hit that button, it sounds so stupid. So this is a really tough job that somebody has to do.
Do you think they have the sound effect?
They
what I mean?
They should.
Do you think like the moment where the batter thinks it's a walk? You know what I mean?
I'll tell you.
The crowd's like, what? No, that's a terrible call. What are we doing? Fuck you.
Have you guys seen Blowout with John Travolta, early 80s movie?
Nobody watches John Travolta movies, dude.
Oh, but
I don't watch anything pre-1990.
Okay, well then, based on those two criteria, you will not have seen this. He's a sound guy. His job is to go get sound for he's like a Foley artist, kind of. Anyway, whatever team has the John Travolta from Blowout, the reference is lost, so I shouldn't even make it. Whatever team has him, it's going to excel at this. I'm in too deep.
Yeah, you would.
Any of the listeners, anybody see Blowout?
I was say the chat might get it.
It's a great movie. It's a Brian De Palma film. I think it's 81. John Travolta was hot back then. Come on.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Okay. I will tell you. Okay, so here's the NFL is going to be crazy, right? Because they're going to have the digitized fans. That's going to be really weird to look at. And by the way, I don't know how they're going to do that with Allegiant Stadium when they don't have fans from the past to kind of stream in, or SoFi. It's going to be kind of tough. But like, what I'm looking most forward to with the sound, like a long pass where the fans are looking for pass interference. We need the like the crowd, that crowd noise. We need that. Yeah, I am asking for too much. I want the normal experience. That's what we need. But there's so many crowd noises in football that are going to be tough to replicate.
But I'm more of the camp of like I'm just more fascinated to watch a sporting event in complete silence and like how this operates so much, you know? Like a football game in complete silence would be awesome. Like to hear with clarity all of the communication going down on the field, you know what I mean? The checks and everything like that, and to hear what they're doing on both sides of the ball, to hear that with like just 100%, we can hear everything and how they're doing that. I think it'd be kind of cool. And that's where I'm more at. It's not so much like the one broadcast I was watching today that did suck, but I'm more of I just want to see how these guys operate when they're playing. And that's what I'm more interested in. I don't need crowd noise. I want to see everything like raw and real.
I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of with you, but it does feel like an exhibition game.
It doesn't to me. It doesn't to me.
I mean, I can separate that. You know what I mean? I can tell myself that like this is a game that counts, you know?
Yeah, and the answer is no. It won't be in the stadiums. It'll be it's just on the broadcast.
The player. So baseball's down to 60. So what's I'm sure you guys have talked about this on your shows, but what's the games count for like how much more now? Like, you know what I mean? Like how much more weighted is each game? What's the percentage? Like 3 times as much, right? Like I was a pretty big baseball fan in my youth. I mean, I'm still fairly young, but like young when I was in high school and whatnot. And I've kind of become more of a fringe fan. And tonight, maybe it's because it's opening day, but tonight I'm gassed up. Like I think the way the game's meaning more makes me care more, and maybe it could win back some fans.
Dude, every game is going to be, or every team is going to be between like 24 and 36 wins. It's like when the season ends, they're all going to be within like 4 or 5 games of each other, and 16 teams are getting in. The scramble for seeding and for making the playoffs is going to be nuts this year.
Yeah.
Dodgers.
Every game is going to be important.
Dodgers look really good.
I mean, they were playing the worst team in baseball.
Way to go on a limb, though.
Rivalry game. Throw the records out the window.
Actually, I got really angry because they were showing the promos for Sunday Night Baseball, and they're like, "We got a great doubleheader," and it's like Braves and Mets, and I'm like, "Hell yeah!" And it was Dodgers and Giants. I'm like, "Where the fuck am I watching that?" The Dodgers are gonna be like a $3 favorite, and it's gonna be the same thing we just watched on Thursday night.
Oh, did you watch the game last night?
Like I had it on. I wasn't like sitting and watching every moment.
All right, so this is actually perfect because you watched a little bit of it.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. JVT.
What? He cut him off. It's great.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask you this, since you had the game on and you do more research on like all of these things than anybody out there. Which is
not a good day for the Angels bullpen. Tell you that much.
Oof. So I'll ask you this: could you name 3 players in the Giants lineup?
Okay. Hunter Renfro's back, right?
The Giants lineup.
Hunter Pence.
Hunter Pence. Sorry, Hunter Renfro. Sorry, I've had a little too much. Hunter Renfro.
He DH'd last night, so yeah.
Yes, yeah. Hunter Pence.
Hunter Renfro DH'd last night.
Don't tell me. Is Belt still on the team? Oh, Evan Longoria for sure. All right, so I got 2. Pence, Longoria. Posey's not playing this year.
My boy, my dude, my guy, my cousin.
Oh, and Pablo Sandoval. There we go. Yeah, there's 3. Yeah.
Pablo Sandoval.
Longoria.
Yeah, Longoria. He wasn't in the lineup last night.
Ah, damn. Okay.
But I think it counts. I think it still counts.
Brandon Crawford, my cousin.
That's the one to go with.
That's your cousin?
Is he really your cousin?
Probably.
Yaz, Flores, Panda, Dickerson, something named McCarthy, Joe McCarthy.
That was his debut last night.
Great grandson of the Joe McCarthy.
Hunter Renfro? It's not that unrealistic. I mean, geographically, they're very close. He can make the flight.
Not anymore. Vegas.
Jalen Davis and Rob Brantley.
It's a disaster. By the way, did Olsen hit a grand slam?
So, was it a grand slam? I thought they only had runners on first and third, but you could.
It was a walk-off grand slam. It was a
walk-off grand slam.
I'm creaming my jeans over here, boys.
Did that go over the total?
Yeah, 7-3. Yeah.
Oof, that's rough. Was it 8.5, 9?
Extra innings. Let's see. Make sure where to close that. Dude, I was going to ask you. What were you talking about? Oh, the Giants. So I was looking at they were doing right before the season when I was looking at Giants shit. They had the projections. Yeah, sorry, we'll get to the serious topic. So none of the, and it's just, the projections for the lineup. And obviously there's a lot of analytics that goes into it. They had one guy that was projected to hit over 270, and none of them were projected to hit more than 8 home runs over the 60 games. It's and that was, by the way, I know because you're right. I just looked it up. Right, Longoria is hurt. That was with Longoria in the lineup. So,
oh my god. That's a
so
show.
We'll get back to baseball in a little bit, but I just wanted to punch up the big story of this evening because this is going to happen, and we're talking about a starting player on arguably the best team in football with the highest paid quarterback eventually in Pat Mahomes. But the right guard for the Chiefs is opting out. Just to give you a couple details before you start calling him a pussy, as it says there, he does work in healthcare, and I know some people were concerned about the money, like, oh, he's just a cash grab. If I'm correct, Adam Hill, I believe that this dude was due to make $2.75 million for opting out. He will get it's a nice chunk of change, but he will settle for $150,000 for the entire season.
Yeah. And for those that are saying whatever, he'd be healthy, he's why would he have to be worried? Because I'd hear the same nonsense all the time. He works in the medical field. He graduated medical school, but he has not had a chance to do a residency yet. Because he's in the NFL, obviously, he did work as an orderly during this crisis in the hospital. So what he basically said, and he has a very long statement if you want to go read it. What he basically said is, I have seen this. This shit is fucking crazy, and I cannot, in good conscience, take a paycheck and go play a game that I love, and take the chance that us doing this is going to help spread more of this heartbreak to families. I just can't do it. So if you're out there saying like, doesn't he know the data? The data says he's going to be fine. Go fuck yourself. Like, he's a guy that has seen it up close. He knows what's going on. So save your nonsense takes. Sorry, go ahead if you want to argue it.
No, I was actually
I actually agree. I agree.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I don't. I just was curious if anybody was going to call him a pussy in here, and I'm not. JVT.
Yeah, I'm in on this train. No, of course not. This is ridiculous, but like, I feel like part of me is like, do we even talk about the people who call him a pussy? Like they're doing it for one reason. You know what I mean? Like, for the most part, again, going back to that 88%, I feel like 88% of people read that. Maybe that's a little generous. A majority of people read a statement, right, see the report, and realize why he's doing it and what he's doing. And you're going to get the comment, like with the Twitter avatar that doesn't have a picture of a person and a fake name that says something.
Numbers.
Right, yeah, and it's going to say something along the lines of, in response to somebody saying the Walter Payton Man of the Year award should go to him, shouldn't be awarded to a scared sheep. Like, should we really focus on guys like that, or the other people who are immediately going to, for some reason, holds a doctorate in medicine, but he's going to work as an orderly? Like really shitty people like that. I feel like a majority of us get this. You know what I mean? And I get angry at it too, but I really try not to.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely noble. Like, this to me is just another reminder of why the mantra of shut up and dribble is stupid, because you have guys like this who, by the way, I had no idea that a Chiefs offensive lineman was, going for his doctorate, was going to become a doctor, was going to med school. I actually was unaware of the story, and he's doing what to me is the right thing, should be recognized, should be applauded, and the whole concept of saying that athletes shouldn't have a voice or shouldn't have a pedestal because they're just an athlete, or because you do get guys like Deshaun Jackson who put their foot in their mouth time and make anti-Semitic comments, and then it kind of gives those bad faith actors fuel to say shut up and dribble. Then you have guys like this that are doing the right thing, making the right choice, and it's super noble. Like, I commend him, and I'm with you, JVT. I don't know if we should give a voice to those idiots. If we're gonna, cancel culture is pretty in right now. So if we're gonna cancel someone, let's cancel those people with the egg avatars on Twitter.
There's enough like decently intelligent people that continue to say that I thought were decently intelligent, that continue to say it's a hoax, it's not real. Like, the hospitals are creating this. It's not even a real thing. Like, all these things.
You see, by the way, to cut you off, did you see the video of the guy driving out in front of the hospital? He's driving in front of the hospital recording, and there's like a couple nurses standing outside, and he's screaming at them, "This is a hoax! Where's all the sick people?" And the nurse is like, "They're in the hospital."
Where'd you think they were, bro?
Well, because he actually walked in the lobby, John. He walked in the lobby.
I didn't see the whole thing.
Yeah, well, it wasn't on video, but this, like, if you read like the description, or whatever, he walked in the lobby and there was nobody there, and he started screaming like, "If this was real, there'd be bodies everywhere." And they're like, they're in hospital rooms. They're being treated.
They're in the morgue, dude. They're in the fucking morgue.
About? This is ridiculous. We don't keep the sick people just passed out in the lobby of the hospital, you moron. But I mean, there are those people out there that, you know, it's a creation for the, you know, to fix the election, or like all this other stupid shit that people come up with. Like, you hear people that are actually in the medical industry or in science saying one thing, and then you hear, as you said, the people with the Twitter avatars that aren't even real, that are a bunch of numbers, are now scientists on the other side, and we're supposed to have equal weight to those. Right. Like, no, you, like, sometimes you don't get a voice. You have no idea what you're talking about, but it's way too powerful.
Adam, I think your 12% theory like works on the other end of the spectrum too. There's the 12% that get it, and then there's what's 88 minus 12. There's the 76% that don't, that kind of like the dumb down jokes. Then there's the other 12% that are like, COVID is a hoax. Every other country is wrong. Every other scientist is wrong. We're the ones that are doing it right. Texas and Florida and Orange County, California, we know what we're doing, and everyone else. So I think it's the 24% theory, and those two 12% exist at both ends of the spectrum.
And the anti-maskers and like this, there's just this whole like cottage industry of these idiots. Just god.
And the internet has empowered them and made them dumber. Has made them dumber.
And it's again the go back to the think for yourself. Like, you need to investigate and find these these hoax conspiracy videos. They'll tell you the truth.
Right?
No, they don't. I mean, last week you idiots were believing that a online company was selling kids.
Oh my god, you guys talked about that? Yeah, did you guys talk about that? Oh my god.
Like, and like, there's people that are like, you need to wake up and see the truth. Like, okay.
By the way, if I was trafficking, I mean, you're going to be a little less obvious, aren't you?
Like, you would think so.
The naming the pieces of furniture after the children, like, they'll never get this, guys.
You would think so.
Yeah, man.
But they're out there.
No, it's I know my friend works with this super hot girl, and that's her Twitter. That's her Instagram story feed every day is like, "Oh my god, wake up! Pedos run this country. Like, everyone's a pedophile. Like, everyone's a pedophile. I mean." Like, if everyone's a pedophile, what are we gonna do? You know?
It's gotten to the point. Like, I'm sure you guys have followed the story a little bit, but I mean, the Pizzagate hoax that was in DC, which I actually kind of felt bad for that dude that went in there with the gun. Like, there's a documentary, Cofield and I talked about it on here. It's called After Truth on HBO. It's all about like the birth of fake news and how it spread so quickly and so easily and why people believe it. Like, that dude went into that pizza place in DC with a gun, because he thought he was freeing children that were sex slaves in this pizza place. And he comes out, he doesn't find them. He looks all around, doesn't shoot the gun, looks everywhere, can't find them. And then he surrenders and he goes, he tells the cops, they're like, "What are you doing?" He goes, I was here to free those kids. Like, I wanted to free those kids. He believed it. But now we have it spiraled out. People still believe it. And now pizza has become an analogy for, like, I like to have sex with children. So when Chrissy Teigen tweeted out, "I want pizza tonight," there was this whole group of people that were like, "See, she's outright saying she wants to molest a kid." Like, pizza means pizza, you fucking morons. But you can't get through to people on that. Like, they're never going to believe you. They're just convinced of this.
I blame 5G personally.
Oh, yeah. Five Guys Burgers and Fries, 5G burgers and fries. Okay, you know what? That's why I don't eat there.
Adam, on the Chiefs thing, and then Alex, I'll ask you too, but is there a football ramification here? Because I'm going to use a tool that you like to use that you know, and I've asked you about, Adam, before, to go like really cold football analysis. Laurent Duvernay Tardif was a 59.7 overall on his PFF grade. He actually wasn't that good. Is this a loss? I don't think so.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
Yes and no. Like, you know that I am a PFF diehard. Like I believe that they are unbelievable what they do. The offensive line rankings they're pretty good to tell you how an individual performed, right? Like, okay, man on man, somebody rushing, did they get through him? How long did he hold him off? Did he allow a sack? Like those things you can tell. But offensive line really is more of a group effort to where like you can't quantify like the communication between the center and the guard and the tackle, who's got who's picking up stunts, and like all those things are tough to really quantify in a PFF type projection. It's not as easy like wide receiver, cornerback, even though there's cornerbacks have to fit into the system too, but it's more just like one-on-one matchups. The offensive line is much tougher.
Let me ask you really quickly though, but I would agree with that, right? Like there's some nuance to understanding like that's not end all be all, but to have that low of a score, you're still somewhere generally in that range as a player, are you not?
Sure, but I guess what I'm saying is the loss is going to be on shortened off season where you're not playing together, nobody's really on the field to develop chemistry. Training camp is going to be really short. I mean, we're not really talking enough, and I don't mean us here, I mean in general, we're not talking enough about how little they're actually going to be in pads in training camp.
August 20th? It's ridiculous.
The agreement that they came up with, they're going to be in pads for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
And so to implement a new starter on an offensive line that had as much success as they did and, develop that offense the way that they did last year, that is going to be really tough to find somebody to just plug into that spot. Now, can they find a better individual player on their roster? I don't know. If they did, they would have been playing them already, right? And they don't really have the money to go out and get anybody. But it's going to be more the, fitting somebody in and working on the communication and that sort of thing in the games, because continuity is going to be huge for NFL teams this year. Massive.
This kind of makes me think of, I guess a bit off topic because Adam really knows what he's talking about and has a grasp on the football side of things. But I'm more curious, who's the greatest Canadian NFL player of all time? I don't know. Like this guy, I didn't know we had some infiltration here from the Great White North. Like, who is the greatest Canadian NFL player of all time?
That's a good question.
I got to do some Googling. Yeah, I got to Google, but I'm just NFL players from Canada.
Well, immediately the name pops up that I'm totally down with is Austin Collie, whose career was cut way too short.
Oh, Nate Burleson is Canadian?
Yeah, that came up. I didn't really know that. Is that true?
Mike Vanderjagt. Mike Vanderjagt is your guy.
The
idiot kicker. Yeah.
Our idiot kicker got drunk, ran his mouth.
Yes.
I didn't know Nate Burleson was from Calgary.
Get out of here. Really? I guess it has to be Nate Burleson then, right?
Gotta be.
Still scrolling.
No, Bronco Nagurski. Come on. There we go.
Oh.
Well, I think we have to go modern NFL,
right? You mean shit NFL that wasn't played the proper way?
Flutie is not Canadian.
I'm actually, you know what? I'm wrong. Arnie Weinmeister is probably the best football player that played Canadian.
Actually, this one I did know because I remember doing a story when the Raiders went to play in Canada. Luke Wilson, the backup tight end. Yeah, he's Canadian.
He's got good hair. That's a Canadian trait.
Can you guys tell me?
There's actually not a lot of great ones.
What round did Arnie Weinmeister get drafted in?
Arnie Weinmeister.
I'm going to guess like 11th. It was back in the days when they had to do a bunch of rounds.
17th.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, Can you guess the year?
What year?
58.
1945. Really underrated defensive tackle back in the day. Played it the right way.
You know what's interesting is I'm looking at a lot of these Canadian players, and they're from like Ontario, British Columbia, some of the bigger provinces. But our guy Laurent Duvernay Tardif is from pretty deep in the Quebecois conference, and with that name, I have to assume he's a French Canadian, and probably has the full on French Canadian accent, which has got to be pretty rare in today's NFL. Or any NFL, for that matter.
Yeah, today's.
There was a big French-Canadian moment there.
Kevin is too soon.
The 70s, they didn't even speak English in the locker. It was just French all the time.
It was French-Canadian.
Austin Collie, I don't even know how to describe the concussions that Austin Collie suffered when he was with the Indianapolis Colts. It was brutal, dude. His brain, I would love to look at it.
When you said Austin Collie, the first thing that popped in my head was just like all-time concussions leader. So maybe he's in the GOAT Canadian football player status.
Well, there's one that Adam's going to totally agree with.
Who's that?
Doug Flutie.
He's not Canadian.
He is Canadian.
He is? I just thought he played in the CFL.
Apparently, he is. Oh, why'd he pop up on this list?
I don't see him on here.
He's born in Manchester, Maryland. Google lied to me.
Yeah, he played in the CFL. Doesn't matter.
Okay, here's a sneaky futures pick though. N'Keal Henry on the Patriots is from Toronto, so maybe.
All right, well, I'm going to say he's eventually going to be number one.
He's eventually can we make a? Is there a bookie in Vegas that would take that bet?
No. Steve, the answer to your question is no.
Is one of
No,
there?
Didn't hear anything, Steve.
Yeah. And we're being serious this time because I know we like to mess with you. But
how good was that? That was good.
When Steve said, "Can you hear me?" and you said, "No."
Yeah, he signed off for like 20 minutes trying to fix it.
It's tremendous.
All right, I made the comment in jest. He's not the greatest Canadian athlete of all time because I don't think he's Canadian at all. But Lou Will. How about my boy Lou Williams making the most of his time?
Leaving?
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it.
So apparently, for those who haven't seen this, so Lou Williams gone. It has been found out, of course, that he left the bubble to attend the funeral of his grandfather, if I remember correctly. But he's out of the bubble, and then was seen on an Instagram live post with Jack Harlow in a setting outside of a home. We don't know exactly what it was, but Harlow's holding a drink, and you can see Lou Williams behind it. Turns out it was apparently a strip club that he was at, and then there was actually another picture of him snapped by the DJ of him walking through, maybe without a mask as well. But the people know this. They know this is recent because of the face mask that he's wearing. Apparently, it's the same face mask that was given out in the bubble in Orlando, and that's why.
Why would you wear that?
Right. And this is the best part about it, because I don't know if you guys, I don't know how much you guys saw this. So Jack Harlow tried to come out on Twitter and say it was an old picture, and then he missed Lou Williams, and that's why he posted it. But Lou Williams has since on Twitter said something. I have to pull. I think it was on the along the lines of, "Everybody knows what my favorite restaurant is out here." Hashtag mask on, like hashtag no problems.
Yeah. No, I got the tweet right here. Lou Will tweeted, "Ask any of my teammates what's my favorite restaurant in Atlanta is. Ain't nobody partying. Chill out, LOL. Hashtag mask on. Hashtag in and out." So what happened is Lou Williams had a family member die, potentially his grandpa or someone older in his family. But like you were saying, JVT, he made the most of it. And he is on the record in the past as saying that Magic City, one of the best strip clubs in Atlanta, from what I've heard, I have never been there, and I haven't spent much time in the ATL, but he's on the record as saying he loves it. In fact, they're known for their wings. I know we're going to talk about wings in a bit. They're known for their wings. They're known for their wings. They have a wing order. It is a barbecue lemon pepper wing called the Lou Will on their menu. So the story checks out. He was in ATL for a funeral, but the night before he went to his favorite restaurant. Now, if you went back to your hometown for a funeral of a family member, and you had a couple days, you had 2 days, then you had to get back to the bubble, you were sad, would you not potentially hit up your favorite restaurant? Right? Like you would, right? Would you guys?
Of course.
And favorite strip club.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, and so potentially your favorite restaurant happens to be a titty bar. Okay? Like, can you blame the guy? He was just going to his favorite restaurant, which he's on the record as saying is a strip club. Jack Harlow shouldn't have posted that. Jack Harlow should have known better. I loved the potential cover up, but actually I think the story checks out, and I don't think Lou Will's to blame at all.
I mean, the issue isn't that he went, like, he's out of the bubble anyway, right? So whatever he wants to do, he can do. If you lied about having a funeral, that's kind of bullshit. But if you did have a funeral to go to and you went, fine.
He did.
Well, it was pretty clear. He posted it up that there was actually like a
graphic.
Yeah. A picture with some dates on it. And...
Right, he could have just found that picture.
Come on, stop.
Yo, Grandpa, I'm gonna need to kill you real quick.
But that's the thing. Like somebody actually somebody tweeted that out. Like I'll have to try to find it. But it was you guys really think that Lou Williams faked his grandfather's death so he could go hang out with Harlow in a strip club in Atlanta and then come back in 3 days? Like
I would do that. No, like I think if you literally have a funeral to go to and you go, if you want to go like hang out or do whatever you're going to do, fine. The problem is, if you're spotted and if a photo comes out with you not having a mask in public, you know that you're going to quarantine way more than 4 days when you come back. Like you can't just go back and say, I went to the funeral and came home. They know that you were out. So now it's going to be like 10 days now.
No, but the NBA's got a protocol for that, though. They do. As long as he tests himself every day that he's out of the bubble, his quarantine, it's either 2 or 4 days, one of the two. It's only 10 days.
It's at least 4. I know it's 4.
Yeah, okay, so it's 4 then. Because it's only 10 days if you leave the bubble and don't get tested every day. That's why Zion's only going to be quarantined the low amount, so whatever it is, 4. He's not going to miss that much time because he got himself tested. It was reported every single day he was out of the bubble. If you leave,
man, I feel like if I'm the NBA and I see this photo, I'm like, all right, you got 10 days. It's not 4 anymore.
But I would argue though, like in the one photo, he's clearly wearing a mask. It's the photo from far away that looks like him that he's not wearing a mask. Like it's not that clear. I would just be like, that's not me.
Well, how about the quote busting of Dr. Fauci? You see that?
What was this? No, I didn't see this.
So he was obviously threw out the pitch yesterday, which was an atrocious pitch. We can, we know that. But he threw out the first pitch, and then they let him and his family stay. I don't exactly know who the family members were, but a couple of them, after he threw out the first pitch, they're like, okay, you can stay in the crowd. So he actually did get to sit in the stands and watch the game. He was like one of 5 fans or whatever that was there.
Oh, what?
And at some point, he took the mask off to take like a drink of water, and then somebody put the photo out, and they're like, Dr. Fauci's a fraud, not wearing the mask. Like, okay, settle down.
Damn it.
Settle down.
We got him.
Yeah, that literally was. Like, conservative Twitter this morning was basically like losing it. We caught him. We finally got him. The hoax is over. Like, all right, he was taking a drink of water. Settle down.
I can't wait to see that pop up in Twitter comments in the next few days.
I just really relate. I feel Lou Will because I used to live in Portland, which I think, as you guys know, has the most strip clubs per capita in our nation. And there's a lot of good spots there. And it's an Oregon state law that if you have a bar, if you have a drinking establishment, you have to serve food. So all the strip clubs in Portland have food, and they try to outdo each other. And there's a couple good spots. One that comes to mind is the Acropolis, which is known for their steak. So if I was back in Portland, I have a lot of family in Portland. My uncle, my aunt live up there, cousins. If I was up in Portland for a funeral, and it was just there for one night, and I wanted to double dip, I would probably go to the Acropolis or to Sassy's and get some food. So, like, I don't think we should be mad at Lou Will. Like you guys said, the NBA has a protocol. He had the mask on. He was just getting dinner. If he had been at, like, Outback Steakhouse, this wouldn't be a fuss. It just so happened to be a titty bar. And Jack Harlow is a young dude. He should have known better. Don't put that shit on social media.
First of all, disappointed in Alex. Casa Diablo is the spot.
Well, Casa D is the spot, but their food's all vegan. So I was saying if I had to double dip, I had to double dip. But yes, Casa Diablo is the best, bro.
We've got some institutional knowledge on this show.
Yes.
We can really break down the Lou Will situation of whether he went to the right club.
Dude, Casa Diablo is so good. I remember I took my friend, had never been to Portland. He'd never been to a strip club. Took him there. And I think he spent $1,000. Just he didn't know what you did there. He's like, she just kept saying one more song.
That'll get you.
Yep.
That'll get you.
I've had that happen. Yep. One of my college friends came out of the room after. I mean, we were counting. We're like, he's on like 54 dances. What the fuck is he doing? He just he totally lost control. I have to jump in on Fauci. Fauci is a dick. He blew that moment.
Oh, he had to pitch better. Yeah, he had to pitch better.
No. The mask in the stands. He's got the mask down. I understand he may have been drinking. Adam, you buried one important fact. There's 3 people sitting next to each other, like on top of each other. You got to fucking. You are on the griddle all the time when you're the guy telling everyone to wear masks. That's even worse than Sisolak. It's way worse than Sisolak.
He was wearing a mask.
What about the distancing?
Well, they'd all been tested.
If you give any opening, they're going to crawl through it.
But they'd all been tested that day. Like, that's the difference.
Don't care. There's optics, and you're the guy.
Well, hold on.
You got to go above and beyond.
So, okay, well, but I'm looking at the picture. So he's got the mask down over his chin. He clearly doesn't look like he's drinking water, and the lady next to him doesn't have the mask on. But if that's like his wife and his brother who, like, he spends intimate time with, like,
of course,
right? Like, that's something different. Like, Steve, do you not? Oh, well, this is a weird question. You might not just do this in general. Do you not hug Debbie? You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's your intimate family members, like, I just saw my mom. I hugged my mom. You know, my wife's here. I hug my wife.
Are you Dr. Fauci?
but why does that change?
He has to be superhuman. It's just the way it is.
I think really who's in trouble is the lady next to him. I would assume that's his wife. Like, at least leave the mask on. I don't know what you're doing from an optics perspective, but at the same time, like if you're part of the 12%, you understand that this is probably two people that he's been around in his intimate and personal life.
Right. It's so obnoxious to try to spin that into anything other than just sitting around the family that you're with all the time. Nobody's telling you to wear masks in your home, right? Nobody. You're around those people all the time. Like, there's no reason for it. And I also, like, as somebody who's in the UFC bubble all the time with the testing, like, I feel like everybody in there has been tested. That's a time that I feel somewhat safe. I still wear the mask in there, but I'm in an environment where everybody's been tested that morning and has been around nobody else. So it's a completely different environment.
This is definitely a 12% situation. No, I totally agree with the commenters. Like, if you and you guys, like, if you see it and you're just like, oh yeah, he's with his family, of course he doesn't have to have the mask on, and it's fine.
There you go. Heard that one.
Yes, we got it.
I heard that.
Yeah,
A little bit.
I've been working my Ari behind the scenes for like 45 minutes. So. But good show, guys.
Steve, where'd you go, dude?
I've been like restarting my computer, watching on the phone. I'm the producer tonight anyway. I'm not going to speak much, but I will transition here. Do we want to, since we're doing Fauci, I got something for you. You know what? Yeah, actually do Paw Patrol before we do my my sports radio calls. Because I don't know the Paw Patrol thing from the beginning of all this. People say it. I missed those couple of days.
Oh, this is great.
They're cops, bro. Get out.
Right. So I would say near the peak, when the fire was burning very, very intensely from the death of George Floyd. Obviously, we were in the sense of pushing back on everything in terms of policing and whatnot. And there was some weird, like, I'm relatively sure because I went through the hashtag a lot when it was going on, a tongue-in-cheek movement to cancel the dog that plays the police officer in Paw Patrol. to get rid of the dog in Paw Patrol. It was very clearly like a joke in terms of trying to cancel it, because there was also, I think it was The Onion that had the headline in the piece about the one episode that was pulled of Paw Patrol in which the police dog shoots a Labrador in the back 12 times as he's running from the scene of the crime. And so there was a lot of like comedy and tongue-in-cheek stuff with this whole thing in Paw Patrol. But it never got canceled, and it was never seriously like considered to be canceled. And then we heard, what's the lady's name? Kayla what?
Don't tell Gooch that.
No, don't. Yeah. What's her name? The press secretary chick, whatever her name is, Kayla McEnany.
Macadamia.
Yeah. But today or yesterday? She's at the media press briefing, and she's talking about cancel culture, and she starts like rattling off all these things that have been canceled. She's like cops, live PD, Paw Patrol, police Legos, and like Paw Patrol had to tweet out like, "No, we're not canceled. They actually have a movie coming next year. They haven't been canceled at all." But the best part was the people in the mentions of Paw Patrol telling them to stop lying because they had been canceled.
Jesus Christ. 88%, bro.
It's so good.
Dude, no, that's the other 12. That's the other 12 right there. Like, those are the dumbest people that want to oh my God. They actually thought Paw Patrol was canceled.
It's not even thinking that it was canceled. It's the statement of coming out like, we have not been canceled. And like, now you're being political by saying you haven't been canceled. Right. Like, it's just so stupid. People are just so dumb.
Alex, there was one response to a New York Post article that said, like, the article was, Paw Patrol responds to allegations that it's been canceled. And like the first comment was, why does the media lie so much? It was like, what are we doing?
I can't even unpack that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even unpack.
Oh, by the way, the other good part about it, turns out Lego had to come out too. Yeah, their Lego police line hasn't been canceled either.
Oh, was that another rumor?
Yes, that was what she mentioned. Rumor? That was one of the products she mentioned that had been canceled.
Oh my God.
It was Lego Police and Paw Patrol. And Lego was like, no, we're still around.
Oh man.
Yeah, there it is.
When like I don't know how to pose this question exactly, but when everybody started posting about and preaching to defund the police and kind of this movement started, I started running through in my head all the different police shows and cop shows throughout history, and I wondered what side they were on, and were there potentially some quote unquote bad apples in Starsky and Hutch, or like the A team? Like, where would the A team stand on BLM? And I don't know if we need to dive into all that right now, but I think that would be an interesting deep dive to go through all the kind of buddy cop or like, I guess, the A team vigilante shows from the 70s, 80s, 90s. And I'm curious where those officers would have stood on all this, because there are some cops that are like, yeah, like we don't need to be so militarized. We do need some checks, like blah, blah, blah. And then there's other cops that are like, blue lives matter, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And I want to know who's who in the world of TV police.
I'll tell you this, and if Steve is still calling things up, if you can find the picture of Chips, the white cop on Chips always just looked like a racist to me. And I don't even know what that means, but he always looked like one of those guys that was just clearly a racist cop.
Let's see.
But he definitely had, I think his partner, Eric Estrada, is obviously not white. So I always thought like this racist cop was like, this is the show that I saw myself as a child. Not that actually happened. But like the white racist cop was just bad that he had the non-white partner.
I can see that.
He just looks like a racist.
Yeah, but I have a hot take. I think on Chips, I think Eric Estrada was actually a bad cop. I think Eric Estrada actually was down, like, in Boys in the Hood. Have you guys seen Boys in the Hood?
Of course.
You know the black cop in Boys in the Hood that's like one of the biggest assholes in the whole movie. I think Eric Estrada was the Latino equivalent of that.
But
that cop, that guy's racist. Yeah, that guy, like, that guy's committing civil rights violations on the reg. You know what I mean? And getting a pay raise for it. Yeah, no, Chips was fully like, Chips canceled Chips. Well, it was, but cancel it again.
I mean, he still looks like it. Now he just looks like an old racist.
What was Estrada's name? Was it Ponch?
Ponch.
Yeah, Ponch, Officer Poncharelli, I think it was.
Hey, Ponch, why don't you shut the fuck up? I got this. Okay?
Wow.
Like,
go back to the cruiser, Ponch.
I think Starsky and Hutch were woke. I think Starsky and Hutch were super woke.
Yeah,
like I think they would have.
Right.
I think there's an episode where they kneel with Huggy Bear, and like I think we could do something with that.
I feel like I know where the Dukes of Hazzard land though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Boss Hog, clearly racist.
Wow,
there's no question.
Actually, you know what? You actually came out and said that cancel culture is out of control, and he actually served in the Georgia legislature. I think was Cooter, who was one of the characters on Dukes of Hazzard, actually came out recently and said canceling is out of control, and he talked about the Confederate flag and that it's not about racism. So Cooter, real life Cooter.
I'll say it again. I love the best examples of cancel culture are the Confederate flag and Roseanne Barr.
Yeah,
let's play. This is Soren Petro. This is his first call of the show today. Guy is unhappy with the kneeling in Major League Baseball, and I'm just going to set this up. You may look at all of us on this screen, maybe everyone doesn't know Alex, and say, hey, Cofield and Company is really woke, and they're always on one side, and there's politics. I'm telling you, I have actually mentioned to Petro this year. I'm like, dude, you have completely changed in terms of embracing issues outside of sports, and it's really dangerous to do that in the Midwest. So when I heard this call, I was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. But Petro does not back down. And a guy called in, and he wanted to start going down the whole path of BLM and kneeling, and people hate baseball. So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
Go to the phones. We'll talk to Joseph. You're leading off today, Joseph. What's going on, buddy?
I think the biggest story that's going to be trending is there are a lot of fans who saw the kneeling, and they're not happy to boycott MLB. In my opinion, these overpaid athletes crying, disrespecting the country. You're going to have, if you don't want to stand for the national anthem, fine, stay in the locker room. But when you're seeing these overpaid athletes, prima donnas, kneel for this country, where are you going to find the money that could be made? You can't go to Russia, China, Italy, Great Britain, but they took a knee, and the fans are now mad. And I'm going to tell you,
Joseph, you're mad, and I get it, and I'll let you keep going here a second. I'm not mad. So you could say you're mad, but you don't get to take all of us with you on that ride.
Okay. That's the beginning of the call. You're seeing a lot of this, right? The hashtag boycott MLB.
Oh, yeah.
And baseball, it was one thing for the Giants to come out and a handful of the guys, including a white Jewish fella and Gabe Kapler kneeling. That's one thing. When the Yankees and Nationals all kneeled, like at that point, what do people do? And baseball's responding in tweets like it's not about the military. It's about fixing, social injustice and delivering racial equality. I mean, that's how you do it. And by the way, fuck you, NFL. That's how you do it. If, as a sport, you basically agree that, hey, those in the sport who want to be behind this cause, you do what you want and we have your back. And I hope they also told the people who are not down with it, like, we're not forcing you to do it, so you do what's comfortable.
So 2 things real quick. One, maybe you guys know this. Because I didn't see and I couldn't find an explanation for it. The black cloth that they're holding when they're kneeling. Is that representative of something, I would assume?
I think unity. Yeah, I think it's like we're all in this together, right?
Okay.
We're all pulling on the same rope.
Yes.
A literal rope.
The other part was, I don't know if you guys have seen what the Tampa Bay Rays Twitter account has been doing. Like, Steve, you mentioned MLB, like the actual MLB account responding. Was it today? It's a good day to arrest the cops who murdered Breonna Taylor. And then after the game, tweeting out, "Oh, and one last thing, Black Lives Matter." Like the Tampa Bay Rays Twitter account is going hard on a lot of this, and I think it's kind of cool. And obviously, it's just social media, and people are getting mad about it. But to your point, like some of these teams, at least they're giving their employees the ability to go ahead, like speak the message, like we're behind you at least in supporting.
And that's Florida.
Right. Adam, I want you hold on a second because I want Adam to also mention what he said on the air today about when the kneeling is happening in terms of the anthem and kind of the path that some people are unhappy with on this whole front. And again, you have the right to be unhappy, and you can ascribe any values you want to the national anthem. You can do whatever you want, but you don't get to tell people why they're kneeling or that they can't kneel or what they mean by it or who they're insulting. Here's more Petro.
But you're telling me that no one in a Black Lives Matter demonstration, no one who supports that cause is a baseball fan. They're different people.
This is a brilliant point because you'll get a group in the NFL, NBA, baseball, and they're like, I'm not supporting anymore. You do realize that maybe for every person who drops off baseball, there may be one replacing you or even more. Those people may have bailed on baseball because they didn't feel baseball was woke enough. Or the NFL could have lost a lot of people for the way it treated Colin Kaepernick. It's just like, my view is the only view, and I'm out, so that means lots of people are out, and they won't replace any of us with new fans. Like, no, they actually may be doing something, because I've seen a lot of, this is bad for business. What part of the business? Those who look and think like you, or people who aren't watching who may gravitate towards the sport? I'll continue.
Black Lives Matter movement and the people that are Antifa, communists that are in that movement, they don't want baseball.
Watch this.
Wait a minute. So if you're in a Black Lives Matter movement, you're a communist?
Predominantly, when you're looking at the majority of Black Lives Matter, it's white, little white communists.
How are they communists?
They've called for open revolution on America, the destruction of our country. They've burned the flag. They're tearing down courthouses.
Who has called for that?
Black Lives Matter, Antifa.
Who?
Antifa. I mean, it's
who?
The news. Antifa. I mean,
give me a name of anybody who has said that.
Antifa. Black Lives Matter. It's the protesters.
Yes, they want to not be choked in the streets by police.
This is great. By the way, anybody that has ever used Antifa in an argument and meant it seriously, you've lost. You've lost. There really is not. There's no such thing. I mean, there are people that try to claim it on some Reddit sites, like I'm part of Antifa. It's not a real thing. It's not real.
Oh yeah, when people bring up Antifa to me, it's the biggest red flag where I'm like, okay, so this conversation's over. This conversation's over.
People that try to claim it on some Reddit sites, like I'm part of Antifa. It's not a real thing. Whoa, that was me.
Oh yeah, when people bring up Antifa to me, it's the big red flag where I'm like, okay, so this conversation's over. This conversation's over.
People that try to claim it on some Reddit site.
Steve, you're replaying the stream.
Relax. Calm down, okay?
Oh, am I on drugs?
John's out.
You're smarter than this. I know you're playing the little game, and you're asking who. I told you who. Antifa. If you go,
I don't even know who Antifa is.
Then you're not paying attention to the news, are you? we're now. What,
yes, I have seen unmarked. I've seen unmarked stormtroopers come and kidnap people in unmarked cars. Yes, I have seen what's going on in Portland, Oregon. Are in unmarked cars and are not reading anybody their Miranda rights and are frankly stepping all over the laws of the country. Yes, I am.
Wow.
What's going on?
That was, I mean, that it's great for Sri to do it. I love it. But it's so, but you're arguing with morons.
Because there's Americans don't want to watch these overpaid prima donnas take a knee for one of the best countries and they have the audacity.
Sir, they're not even the highest paid athletes in the world.
Died for this country. I have friends that died for this country and see these little assholes take a knee.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate the call. So,
by the way, how awesome would it have been when the guy was like, I've had friends who died for the country. Who? Because I love that. The amount of stolen valor on social media is through the roof.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you don't know. There's a good chance you don't know anyone who's paid the ultimate sacrifice. So shut up.
That goes both ways too. Like, you know, for every person like this idiot that claims I have people that die for this country and they would be upset about that, you can find a soldier or somebody who served or somebody's family who died who will say, no, my family was in the military or I served or my friend died or my dad died and he would have supported this. So I think we can pretty much agree that there are soldiers and families of soldiers on both sides of this argument. So we probably shouldn't bring up how a soldier would feel or what a soldier felt about it or what he did, because it seems like it's about 50-50. So we can just eliminate that from this discourse completely. No more citing what soldiers did or any, like, I'm not diminishing what they did. It's amazing. But I'm saying there's like a 50-50 split of what the opinion is of all this. So let's stop citing that as a part of our argument here.
Yeah, I would agree. And I also think, too, when we're talking about this, like when you ask the question, okay, they died. You're right. Like, people died for this country. You might have friends who have died for this country. What did they die for? We're fighting fascism. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like what they were fighting is like the very thing that you're trying to instill upon the people of this country, telling them that you can't speak up on your opinion. You cannot tell me, right, that this country is imperfect and that it needs to change. You can't do that. You need to respect our symbol of of this country. Like that for the most part is what America was supposed to be fighting against. That's what this country was founded on, the principles of not having to do that, to be able to practice your beliefs and do things of this nature. Like, I don't know. And we talk about this all the time, though. I feel like, again, like it's just like a big circle all the time. We just keep coming back to the same stupid fucking points that I just don't understand why people don't get.
Because they won't drop it.
Yeah.
They still cite their same nonsense.
Yeah, there's like at some point in this country or at some moment there's been like a brainwashing of like 12% of the population that just thinks that dissent is un-American. But if you read any history book, if you know anything about U.S. history, if you've read the Constitution, if you know about the American Revolution or, the Boston Tea Party or anything really in U.S. history that the history books have smiled upon or that we know as Americans is right, dissent is a big part of that. Like, that's what this country is founded on. But for some reason, there's a percentage of this country that somehow thinks that dissent is un-American, that going against the president or the ruling class or the powers that be is un-American, when really it's actually the most American thing you can do. And that disconnect to me is mind-boggling. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I mean, I do get it because I know how people get like brainwashed or deceived by media, misinformation, the internet, whatever. But I also just don't get it because to me, dissent is the most American thing.
It also, like, one of the things I always think when I hear people like this caller, and we have the same people that, hit us up on Twitter and even here that watch this show and comment that I know every day we see them. You hear people saying the same, types of things. But, one of the, I'm sorry, reading text. One of the things, I'm like thrown off by it. Because when they make this argument about all this stuff, like, these are the same people that in the 50s and the 60s would have been against sit-ins and against the marches.
Oh yeah.
And would have been fighting it. Like, why don't you accept how great our country is? Why are you trying to fight against like that? Do these people realize they are the same people that would have been on the wrong side of history then and are now on the wrong side of history again. That's what we're dealing with.
That's kind of like another point I wanted to make too, is that we know, I mean, the four of us know, and I think that 12% that we're in knows, and the people that get it know that these protests, the Black Lives Matter marches, Colin Kaepernick kneeling, the MLB kneeling, all of that is for sure going to be on the right side of history. It's obvious, and it's obvious that it's the right thing to do. And you're totally right, Adam. Those people that the people that are opposing what's going on today but they're like, well, MLK was a great man. He did this, this, and this. You would have hated MLK he was hated back in the day.
You would have been calling in to sports radio shows and telling, why doesn't this guy just shut the fuck up? Like, it would have been the same people. The same people.
Exactly.
Alex is going to run here. That's like kind of a false excuse. We're kicking him out. But he does have a great wild card topic. And Alex, you've been great tonight.
Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it. I very much enjoy the late night happy hour.
I'm sorry for the gaffes on the production. And sorry, John. Wild card topic from Alex. I'm intrigued by this because I'm not in a position where I can just start calling up exes and trying to get some COVID poon. Were you serious with this question? The question is what?
My question was reconnecting with your ex during COVID/quarantine, terrible idea or genius. And my point was just that, this is
terrible.
Terrible.
No, I'll tell you why.
I think it's genius.
Nope, it's terrible.
Oh, it's terrible.
It is unbelievably terrible, and I'll tell you why. Yes, if you're thinking you can just make the text and get it and get out, fine. You do what you got to do. But here's what's going to happen. Everybody is, like, for the most part, everybody, a lot of people right now are very depressed and very lonely and very sad. And all you're doing is not only asking to get back in a relationship, but you're asking to get stuck back quarantined with somebody, which sounds like a disaster. You can't do it. And if you think that you're going to pull off the, hey, what's up? Let's hook up one time and I'm out of here. Good fucking luck, bro. That ain't happening.
Go.
Well,
that didn't happen.
Okay, Cofield, I want to hear your explanation of why it's genius. Then I'll tell you what happened with me. Then I'll tell you guys my true story that happened during COVID.
Real life. I'm quarantined with my ex.
Behind the scenes, we went in. No, but what do you think, Steve? Why do you think it's genius?
First of all, you wear a mask. You double bag. You double bag the weed.
Jesus.
You double bag it. Right now, when you're single, there's obviously you're not going to pull an Ari, and because we know Ari's been running roughshod on Tinder and just fucking everything that walks. You can't pull an Ari and do that, so you have to go to people you trust. And you think back to exes. If you're a guy, they're like, okay, they're clean, they shower, they're probably respecting the whole COVID set of rules.
They were.
I have a limited field of people I can doink. I'm going to go back to a trusted source. Simple as that.
So you're stuck, but you're stuck now.
What do you mean you're stuck?
You're like if this is the time, that you're choosing to do this, you're back with them.
Like what Adam's saying is
no, you're not.
No, but just like you said, though, Steve,
are.
like your options are limited, and the means in which you attain those options are also limited, with everything being closed down. So the one time in which you engage in this entanglement, to steal a term, like,
I like it.
Right, then that's going to be the only well that you have to drink from, per se, and then that's what you're going to have to keep coming back to for the most part, and you're going to get stuck together. Like
you're not going to get stuck together. You know the person. You will be
there's a reason why they're
stuck at home,
right?
Yeah, and why they're stuck at home by themselves right now.
You'll be in agreement that it's a one-off, that they can doink and run, and that's it.
Okay.
There's always an agreement beforehand.
Here's the thing. It's funny. Dan Jacobs, I used to work with Dan. Here's the funny thing with me. In spite of how I look, I mostly broke off, or they broke off with me on good terms, right? So there's no negativity. They were also cool people. So even 10 years later, you still have a lot of things in common. You can come to an agreement that, hey, this is not going to be a relationship. Let's doink, and we can go after that. I trust you. You trust me.
So much like in real life, the truth often does lie in the middle. And while I agree with Steve that it is genius, I think this is prime time for reconnecting, because Ari Jesus Christ, man, what are you doing? Like, do not be going and banging random chicks from Tinder. Like that, people like Ari are single-handedly contributing to our national spike in COVID. You got to chill on that. The double bag and the mask, it's not going to take care of it. But this is what happened with me. And just like Adam said, it does turn into something more. So my ex and I broke up. Well, at the time it was my girlfriend. We broke up around Christmas. Then COVID hit. We said, hey, do you want to quarantine together? We're like, yeah. There's a like you said, Steve, we had a good relationship. We ended on good terms. We were really best friends, still are. We're like, yeah, let's quarantine together. There's, we didn't break things off because we didn't have feelings for each other. There was other factors at play. Quarantine together. March turns into April. April turns into May. She asks me to move in. And so that's when I was like, whoa, this has progressed beyond just a COVID hangout and some fun to all of a sudden I got to move up to LA. My gig's down in OC. I got to commute. I got to and she didn't give me a full on ultimatum, but it was basically like, hey, we take the next step now or we can't hang at all. And then it got real sad. And then I got depressed.
And it got real sad.
Yeah. So like,
it sounds like it's not a genius play.
Who saw this coming?
Right.
Or Alex.
I just say live in the now, because what if you got COVID and died? At least you hung with the ex. At least you got some love before,
Yeah, at least you got to be depressed for a little bit, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm coming out of that now. I'm coming out of that. Thank you guys for helping me on the journey. But so there's the truth's in the middle. But both what Steve and Adam said was true. But it turned into actually one of the most serious moments of all my time with this woman, of her being like, "Do you want to move in? Let's do this." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like I didn't know we were going here. And
of course, it's during this time where the entire world is falling apart and everybody's sad and depressed and mostly lonely that can't actually work and is stuck in their house. Of course, if you try to do something like that and reconnect, that's what's going to turn into. That's obvious. Yeah. You had to know that going in, but you probably wanted that going in, even if you say you didn't.
I was down to roll the dice. To use a little, Vegas lingo with you guys.
Sure.
Riverboat Alex. Riverboat.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. I know you guys are going to talk UFC and boxing and whatnot, so thanks for having me on. This was fun as always.
Give out. Well, you know what? I'll just put it up. You got to follow Alex at dr_Croft.
Dr. Croft, going for that doctorate like the Chiefs offensive lineman. Not on the same path as him. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, but yeah.
Doctorate and NFL. Perfect.
We'll see you.
Thanks, guys. Peace. Nice to meet you, Adam.
You too, man.
Later.
Ari somehow trying to defend what he's been doing on Tinder. That's what it's been. Because how many times on the air have we questioned Ari? Because Ari's like, I can't get in any earlier. I can't watch TV late at night. And we're always like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What's taking up all your time? Tinder.
What's his swipe right percentage?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, like you're saying for him or
for
back
him?
on him?
Like how often is he?
I'm gonna go 82%.
Ari, what's your swipe right percentage? And I see that.
What is swipe right percent? What does that even mean?
So I don't know. You swipe right. Obviously, you're showing interest, right? You're saying that you like the person that you're looking at. I know
he's getting interest. He's getting interest, or he's giving out.
He's showing interest.
He's showing the interest, and I know people. I've seen
100%.
Yep, they'll just sit there and they're just so desperate. They'll just go swoop, 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 swoop,
nice.
swoop. They won't even stop to look. They'll just
it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game for sure.
Always swipe right. Always okay. Getting aggressive, rebel.
Yeah. Those are the 100 percenters. I think Ari's at 82, even if he doesn't lie.
Ari, not your success rate. The probability that you will swipe right on a female. What is that? Yeah. I don't want your success rate.
If you have a session, you look at 100 girls. You look at 100 girls on there. How many of them do you swipe right on? Because I don't think Ari's studying fully. He's not going through every photo and reading the description. I think he's looking at just the first photo.
You think Ari's reading the bio? He's in and then halfway down the bio, she says Phantom Menace was the best Star Wars. He's like, nah, I'm out, can't do it.
I don't think he's doing a deep dive into the bio. Right. I think he's just looking at the first photo and making a decision. And I think he's at 82% yes.
Yeah. I want to know what gets you if you're a 90 plus. I wonder what gets you to swipe left. You know what I mean? It's got to be pretty bad. 70%, but also knowing that about 95% are not going to match.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go like 80. Plan B will be used.
0%.
That's the other part of it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
70 seems low. 70 seems low to me.
I was being sarcastic. I don't think Ari is doinking away. By the way, I was also I don't think I explained it to the audience. Adam, what was it? Tuesday when I said around 4:45 that the bosses had texted me and they're really pissed off about the way we covered a bunch of female stories.
Yeah, at me.
And I was like, we have to revisit this because one of our female bosses is really annoyed with what we talked about. So,
wait, what happened?
So he was lying.
We were doing, it was a setup. We were doing a couple of stories. I wanted to revisit something, so I was like, we're being forced to revisit it. It was a couple of stories about, one was a bunch of female athletes, big time athletes who'd bought into the women's soccer league. They were going to have a team in LA. Yeah. And then the other one was the Redskins hired, they hired her, made a lady the head of their communications department. And when I talked about it, one of the things I mentioned was that she's a former Miss Florida, right?
Yeah.
And I thought about it during the break, and I was like, I said a couple of things that really were like an example of systemic sexism. So I wanted to have a longer conversation, but I also like to say that we get yelled at all the time at work.
Did you say the word tuchus?
Of course, multiple times. Yeah. I can only say ass so many times on, it's
true.
Is the female boss mad in this case? No, she was not. Our big boss is actually a gigantic fan of the Big Five.
True.
Yeah. And I rarely, I'll just tell you, there's some discussions we're going to have next week about work, but I'll just tell you with Lotus Broadcasting, for the most part, they stay out of your business. They're a radio company, but they also understand that we're going to say stupid stuff. They got
mad about our Pizzagate.
Yeah, they did. They've gotten mad. And I mean, it's like, come on.
Adam, you remember what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
How long were you there, John?
Well, like 3.5 years, 4 years?
How many times did you actually get talked to about what you said on the air?
I mean, not what I said, but what was on the show. I would say a total of maybe 3 times.
So like once a year.
Yeah.
And that's about my average. Every once in a while, they'll weaponize something that happened in the past that they never told me about. Like they'll be like, we got calls on this, and I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me? Don't worry about it. I'm going to use it now. I'm going to use it now to strike it down. I'm like, I had no idea if you told me. I don't know.
There was one. It was great. There was actually one instance where I was called in. It was when Julie was our PD, so a female PD, and Adam had said Adam was actually making an impassioned argument on the behalf of women or a woman.
Oh, okay.
But like somebody listened and misconstrued it completely and like just didn't understand. And like had called Julie like 15 times about Adam being like sexist and wanting him fired. And like I had to pull the clip and like explain to Julie. And like it was like a 20-minute meeting. And then she's like, at the end, she's like, I don't see what the big deal is. I was like, I don't either. I'm like, can I get back to work?
By the way, I like that I never heard about it.
Yeah.
Because
I helped you. I think that's a good producer.
That's the way they handle a lot of it. They'll go to the people around, they'll get the research, they'll figure it out. And then a lot of times radio management, you have to call the person back so it doesn't turn into like a giant fire. But you have to also know what was said so you know both sides. And that's why I say the company's a good company, because there are a lot of radio companies who are like, what did they say? And they start to get like, you know both sides? Did you even listen? Do you want to hear my explanation? So they're good that way. John, I heard you called the bosses today. We're very mad. I'm lying again. You were very angry about my Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. take. What was the problem?
Oh, I think you guys should be. You should have been angrier about this. Like, I was listening a little bit today while I was doing stuff around the house, and you were talking about the boxing purists, right? And the media members getting all like up in arms about this, calling it a spectacle and whatever it is. And I'm not coming at it from that angle. I just thought that both of you actually, as boxing fans who like actually enjoy the sport, would be more pissed because you're like, essentially like, this is what I have to fucking pay for. You know what I mean? Like the pandemic's been going on for a while. There's actually been boxing cards, and Adam mentioned it. They're not worth watching. Yeah, they're garbage. They're crap. Like, I'm a fan of this sport, and the one thing that I've been put in front of me in the last, like, what? I guess, like, less than a year I know there was the whatever fight where I can't even remember. It was that memorable. The guy comes out with all the armor on and saps his legs allegedly, and then
Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, Wilder. Yeah, there we go. Fury and Wilder. Like I guess that was worth it, but that fight sucked, and you still paid $65 for one fight essentially. I just thought you guys would be more angry about the state of boxing and the fact that they have done such a terrible job that you're going to pay another $60 to watch Tyson in an exhibition match with Nate Robinson and one of the Paul brothers on the
That's the one I'm paying for.
Right.
No, but I think you're right. But the one thing you got wrong is like I'm really not a boxing fan. I think it's garbage, especially now. Okay. So I'm not really worked up in that regard. But the thing I did point out is that they finally announced a good fight. Like they finally announced a good boxing match coming up, and then on the same day they have to announce Roy Jones and Mike Tyson.
Right. Like
it totally buried the fact that there is a good fight coming up. So that was kind of the annoying thing to me. But I think you're right. If I was more of a boxing fan, I'd be more pissed.
I guess that was more towards you then, Steve.
I'm not that big a boxing fan anymore, and I'm tired of yelling about it. This is a rant I've been doing basically since probably 2005, 2006, when things started getting squirrely. So what am I going to do? 15 years of lecturing boxing like they did it to themselves? We kind of made the point. I'm actually intrigued by the fight. I think it's kind of interesting. I can't control the fact that boxing won't book big fights, and then when they do, it's like a heavyweight fight where they're planning out 4 years from now, and it's like just have the guys fight. And you can also see boxing just does not have the infrastructure to risk putting real fights in front of no audience. Like the gate is such a big thing because their pay-per-views are so far down. Yeah, it sucks, but it's too far gone now. And I said it on the air. I was like, just be happy that we're talking boxing. And we also tied in MMA because people's ears now perk up when it's UFC. So you're getting a little rub off of UFC. So otherwise, no one's. I mean, I'll tell you what. If a boxing PR person was mad at us, like, go F off. Yeah. Like at least we hit it every once in a while. Regular sports talk radio. You think they ever talk about boxing? Like you did that. We didn't do that.
Yeah. I guess I understand that. I'm amazed. I don't know. You're right. It's a topic of conversation that's been had multiple times, but where they're at, where there could have been, and all the things they've done wrong up to this point. But what are you going to do? I guess.
Boxing's trash.
Really is it's funny because like the realm obviously that I work in, there's a lot of older guys in the sports gambling realm, and every time I bring that up, I'm like, the mixed martial arts is better. Like, what are we doing? Like, stop bringing this up. You're going to pay $60 for a card that has maybe 2 fights on it. And the first one's going to be just awful. And then the other one's going to be like, for me, for example, my boxing experience, I have watched, let's see, it was Wilder Fury. It was Mayweather McGregor, Mayweather Pacquiao. I think those are the last 3 boxing matches I watched. Like,
well, the thing is, there's such, as Steve said, you could do this argument every day and it never changes. But boxing promoters are so scared of having one of their fighters lose.
Yeah.
They think it's the end of the world. Well, if you're so scared of having them lose, you're not going to have competitive fights. Like, do you understand that? Like, you're not going to ever have competitive fights if you're so scared to lose.
Well, there's like 12 belts though. Like, why don't you just go after one of the other ones?
That's true too.
Like, if you lose, like, I feel like there's a route to another belt somewhere.
Well, it's just this old mentality of like, 50 years ago, if you hadn't ever seen a fighter fight because all these house shows and there's nothing on TV, and somebody's like 9-1, you're like, oh, okay. But if they're 10-0, like, whoa, 10-0, okay. And like, I was gonna say it's the same mentality. It's the same it's Don King and Bob Arum. Yeah. It's still the same fucking guys for 50 years.
I'd also say too, because I was listening to this segment. There's no segments right now. I'm sorry. That Adam's also right. I was looking at the card for this Saturday fight, the UFC Fight Night. I was researching it for the week, right? And I was looking at it on Monday. And the first thing that came out of my mouth when I looked at the card in its entirety was Mauricio Shogun Rua is still fighting. I had no fucking idea. I had no idea whatsoever that he was. I went to Sherlock. I was like, this has to be his first fight in like 6 years.
That was one of the fights I defended.
I know.
He's actually not even that old. It's just that his body has been through. His body has been through so many wars, and he started fighting at like 18. And he's had like 7 knee surgeries. He's been through battle after battle, and he fought in Pride.
Like 10 years ago, it was fucking awesome.
And he fought in Pride, where like it's a much more brutal sport. Like he has been through war, so I think he's only like 36 or something. I don't know what his exact age.
By the way, he's 38. He's 4-1-1 over his last 6 fights. I can add, and all those 6 fights have come in between August of 2015 and November of 2019. So he doesn't fight very often, but he's back at 38.
I was amazed, but like I'm with that. Like that, those old guys. Like, come on. I don't want to watch that.
Fabricio Verdum is 43.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Lil Nog is 44. Oh,
yeah, this is the oldest card ever.
Ed Verdum looked awful in his fight against Oleinik the last time we saw him.
Terrible.
He looked deflated and just.
And then Gustafsson, as we pointed out today, Gustafsson looked just fat going to heavyweight.
Yep.
All right, we can end the show now, or we could tell the story about this picture and what happened afterwards. What do people want? We end it. All right. Well, that'll do it. That'll do it. I know Brady. I don't even think Brady's in tonight, or he was in earlier, but maybe he bailed. He only wanted to watch Alex. Or should we save it for Monday? Because then a lot of people who aren't in tonight. What do we do?
Save it.
I think save it.
Save it. Okay. Pickle Gamer. Pickle Gamer wanted more. Ari says this week. Pickle Gamer wanted more Ruprecht tonight. We'll bring it back next week.
Yeah.
Pickle Gamer, you a gamer? Ghost of Tsushima. Am I buying this or not? Tell me. Let's go.
You already have a game to play, John.
What?
You already have a game to play. Can we challenge each other?
Oh, you know what? I was going to ask you that. I was going to tell you all of my numbers behind my guest.
Oh, I finally logged in with Facebook, and that's me now.
I deleted Facebook a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah. Me and John are playing a golf game, Steve. So.
Dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Golf?
Yeah, I know. I saw you guys tweeting about it, about golf, and it's something. I was like, what is going on? I'm totally lost.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. My chest is open. Good call, Adam. Good call.
What driver do you have?
Let me tell you right now. Let's see. It's I got the neon light, but I got it upgraded to level 4.
Oh, I got the Big Bear.
Yeah. I don't like the Big Bear. Mine's my power's 203 at this point. I'm feeling pretty good. I just don't get people are stupid, man.
I know.
Their strategy is awful.
Terrible. Trying to go you got to stay on the fairway.
Right.
You can't take the risk. You can't get in the rough. It totally sets you back.
There's guys who are trying to go through a rock, and I'm like, what are we doing?
It's good. Everybody download Golf Rival, and then we'll do Golf Rival talk on Monday.
Yeah, we could break this down for sure. Oh, this clown's using the Black Bear driver.
No. I think this is a good tease. Get people excited for Monday. You too, Derek.
We'll tell you all about seat on Monday.
C-word?
No, I said seat.
C-word.
Oh, Jesus. I thought you actually said the C word like the...
Look at this guy. This clown's actually shooting for the rough on purpose.